As a nurse community health worker, I handle the clinical medical aspects of the patient care. That includes going to doctor's appointments, medication reconciliation, and a big aspect of what I do, oddly enough, is translation. I translate the patient's medical condition and the purposes for them taking medications from medicalese into language that the normal everyday person can understand.
As a social worker, we go out in a team and we assess the situation each individually has things going on. And my purpose is to assess their social needs, which can mean they may need transportation, they may need help with food or housing or psych referrals or medical equipment in the home. That's my main purpose.
What we do is we facilitate a team to go out to see patients in their home or wherever they may be living, or we've met patients at Jack in the Box or wherever they are, to make sure that we're focusing in on their clinical and their social needs. And my role, of course, is to focus more so on their medical, clinical needs and to facilitate helping them to navigate the system.
I'm a community health worker for the program, and what I do is I go to the homes, facilities, to do an overall assessment for social needs more so, and I go with my teammate, and that individual will assess for medical needs. So we start off there. That's the primary.
Norman is a patient. He had quite a bit of medical conditions going on. He just recently had a pacemaker placed. He's morbidly obese. He had COPD. Actually, I believe it was 8 years that he stayed in his home nearly as a hermit. He was ridiculed for his weight, and so he didn't want to go out. He would go through the drive-through pharmacies. He went through drive-through food. Only time he stepped out of his home was to go to his doctor. He stopped going to church and singing. And this man was just very warm and smiling and welcoming. You would have never guessed that he was depressed, but he was. And our team went out and we prayed with him, and he literally said that a weight was lifted off of him. Now, since our intervention, our help, our guidance, our empowering him to take control of his health and his life and his happiness, he now has lost weight. He walks the park with his dog and his granddaughters. He no longer goes to the drive-through fast food or pharmacy. He sings every Sunday in church, and he has the most beautiful voice.
One patient that I would like to share, we'll call her Ethel. She's a lady in her 80s living alone in a mobile home. She had problems with senility. She was on a medication that slows your bleeding times, things like that that would make her unsafe in her home. She had family dynamics where they were not in association with each other as they should have, or in communication as they should have. She did actually pass away not too long ago, and because of the bond that you establish with these patients, it really gets to you because it becomes very personal. This lady became more aware of the need for her to be more communicative with her family, which did happen. And I believe we improved her quality of life until she did pass away recently.
A patient that stands out for me is Alex. He's unlike a lot of our patients. He's only 31, but he has congestive heart failure and uncontrolled diabetes. About a year ago, Alex was in the hospital for 2 or 3 months because he was so close to death and his heart function was so low. Now, Alex is functional, but he's so not at all his normal self. He can't work. He's just gotten to the point where he can walk more than a few blocks at a time. And Alex is a really interesting guy. He wants to do more. He wants to provide for his family. But just all of the medical things that have gone on have left him really low, even at one point, meaning mentally and emotionally low. At one point, while he's been enrolled in our program, we couldn't get in contact with him. I think he just decided that it wasn't important anymore for him to really pay attention to his health. And so Alicia and I, we did a home visit. We just showed up at his front door, and we had a conversation with him and talked to him about how he has these goals in his life. He wants to see his children grow, and that's not going to happen if he doesn't take charge of his health. He's the only one that can make a difference. And after talking with him, and he decided that he wanted to make those changes. He wanted to step up and be the predominant person that said what happened in his health care. And he's in our program now still, and he's doing really, really well.
It's a very humbling feeling to know that someone in his situation, the person he was, and then all of a sudden he closed the outside world. He closed everything out, that knowing that there are people that care and love and support someone like that, that they don't have to remain like that. It's a good feeling knowing that he said, we were a godsend, our team. That is such a good feeling for us.
What I believe has changed is that I feel like now that I need to speak up. Knowing the effect that this program has had on patients who are disenfranchised, who don't know what they can do or what they should do, and to be able to empower them has changed me into the fact that if I'm around someone who has the finances or has the ability to make a person's life better and to empower them, to enhance their life, to make it better for them, I need to speak up.
One of the things that has changed me is the future medical teams that are going out. I took a volunteer to an assessment, and he now has more of a visual input as to, hey, as a doctor, I didn't realize. And that, looking at him, makes me think this is important for me, because this is a future physician. And because we're here together, it has made me feel like I'm helping him, and he's also helped me, because he's now going to have a real insight as to how people really live.
So this way we see how they live. If they have too much medication, or they don't have enough food, or they're eating the wrong type of food. This job has changed me, that I'm more open. I have more courage, and I have more heart because of this job.
Since I started working for the program, I've gotten a much greater appreciation for what it means to be an advocate. I've always been that person in my family that goes with people to their doctor's appointments and advocate for them. Now I have a better understanding that it's just not my family that needs that. Everybody needs that. And the importance of learning, of being able to help empower people to say, hey, you have a say in what happens in your health. You have control over that. And so many people, I think, don't understand that. And so it's just given me even more of a passion for helping people to know who they are and how they can be active participants in their health and their health outcomes.